On my birthday, my family gave me a special present. When I opened it was an eviction notice for my own house. I smiled as I returned the favor on their wedding day. The eviction notice felt like ice in my hands, its crisp edges cutting through the warmth of my birthday celebration. Just moments ago, I'd been smiling, surrounded by family, thinking this was going to be my best birthday yet. I'm Vivian, and this is how my 30th birthday became the day my family betrayed me. Open it, dear. We're all so excited for you to see what's inside, my mother had urged, her eyes twinkling with what I now realize wasn't joy, but anxiety. The fancy envelope had seemed innocent enough, wrapped in silver paper with a delicate bow. The living room of my childhood home, the one I'd spent the last years renovating, was filled with familiar faces. My cousin Sala sat perched on the armrest of the sofa, watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. My brother Jace stood by the fireplace, hands shoved deep in his pockets, avoiding my gaze. Come on, Viv. We haven't got all day. Sala had chirped, her voice honey-sweet. I remember thinking how odd it was that she dressed up so formally for a simple family gathering. As I tore open the envelope, birthday cake still sweet on my tongue, the legal document inside made my stomach drop. Notice of eviction stared back at me in bold, unforgiving letters. What is this? My voice came out barely above a whisper. Mom? Dad? My mother's face crumpled. Sweetheart, we've been trying to find the right time to tell you. Tell me what? I stood up, the paper trembling in my hands. That you're kicking me out of my own home? The home I've poured my savings into, my heart into? Sala cleared her throat. Vivian, be reasonable. The house was never officially yours. The deed is still in your parents' names, and they've decided it's time for a change. A change? I spun to face her. What do you know about this? I'm just trying to help the family make the best financial decision, she said, smoothing her designer skirt. The market's hot right now, and the market? I laughed, but it sounded more like a sob. This is my home, not some investment property. My brother finally spoke up. Viv, maybe we should discuss this privately. No. I slammed the paper down on the coffee table, making the cake plates rattle. I want answers now. Mom, Dad, why are you doing this? My father wouldn't meet my eyes. There have been concerns about your ability to maintain the property properly. Sala has shown us some concerning documentation. Documentation? I felt like I was drowning. What documentation? I've done nothing but improve this house. Look around you. New hardwood floors, updated kitchen, restored Victorian details. I did all of that with questionable contractors, Stella interjected softly. And there are the noise complaints from neighbors, the unauthorized modifications. That's absolutely false. My voice cracked. I turned to my best friend Paisley, who stood frozen in the corner. Paisley, tell them. You've been here through all the renovations. Paisley stepped forward, her face fierce. Everything Vivian's done has been by the book. I've seen all the permits myself, but my family's expressions remained unchanged. My mother reached for my hand. Sweetie, you have 30 days to. I jerked away from her touch. 30 days? To leave my home? On my birthday? The room started spinning. How long have you been planning this? Sala stood up, straightening her blazer. I think we should all calm down and discuss this rationally. The decision's been made, Vivian. Fighting it will only make things harder. Looking at her face, that perfectly composed mask of false concern, something clicked. This wasn't just about the house. This was calculated, planned. The formal outfit, the documentation she'd mentioned. The way she'd positioned herself as the voice of reason. Get out, I whispered, then louder. Everyone get out. Vivian, my mother started. Now they filed out one by one, leaving only Paisley behind. As the door closed behind my family, I collapsed onto the couch, the eviction notice mocking me from the coffee table. Paisley sat beside me, rapping, an arm around my shoulders. This isn't over, Viv. Something's not right here, and we're going to figure it out. I wiped my eyes, anger replacing shock. You're right, Sala's behind this somehow. She's always wanted this house ever since we were kids. I straightened up, a new determination flooding through me, and I'm going to prove it. Looking around at my beloved home, at the walls I'd painted, the fixtures I'd restored, the memories I'd built, I made a promise to myself. This wouldn't be the last birthday I'd celebrate here, not if I had anything to say about it. The morning after my disastrous birthday, I sat at my kitchen counter staring at my phone. 17 missed calls from Mom. 5 from Jace. None from Stella, of course. You need to eat something, Paisley said, sliding a plate of toast in front of me. She'd stayed the night, sleeping on my couch like we used to do in college. You can't fight this on an empty stomach. I pushed the plate away. I can't eat. I need to figure out what Salah has been telling my parents. My hands shook as I pulled up my mother's contact information. I'm calling her. Put it on speaker, Paisley said, settling beside me. Mom answered on the first ring. Vivian, thank goodness, we've been so worried. Save it. I cut her off. I want to know exactly what Salah's been saying about me. A heavy sigh crackled through the speaker. Honey, it's not just what Salah said. She showed us documentation of unauthorized construction. Complaints from the neighborhood association. That's impossible. I slammed my hand on the counter. I have every permit, every approval right here in my files. Who specifically complained? Well, I don't have the actual complaints in front of me. Stella handled all of that. Of course she did. I laughed bitterly. And did you bother to verify any of it? To ask me about it before ambushing me on my birthday? Silence stretched between us. Mom? Salah said you deny everything. She finally replied, her voice small. She said you've been struggling financially, that you've been cutting corners. I want copies of everything, I demanded. Every document, every complaint, everything Salah showed you today. Vivian, please understand. No, you understand. That house is my life. I've put every penny I have into it, and I'm not leaving without a fight. I hung up before she could respond. Paisley squeezed my shoulder. That's my girl. Now what? Now we gather evidence. I grabbed my laptop. I need proof that Salah's lying. My phone buzzed. A text from Jace. Meet me at Carlos Coffee in 30. Need to talk. 20 minutes later, I walked into Carlos, spotting my brother in our usual corner booth. His face was drawn, guilty. You knew, I accused, sliding into the seat across from him. You knew what they were planning. Jace ran a hand through his hair. I found out yesterday morning. Mom and Dad swore me to secrecy, said Salah had proof you were in trouble. And you believed her? Of course not. He leaned forward. Look. Something weird is going on. Last week, I overheard Stella on the phone talking about property values and development opportunities in the neighborhood. My heart stopped. Development opportunities? Yeah. And get this. Her fiancé, Valentin? His family owns that new luxury condo complex downtown. The pieces started falling into place. Our street was one of the last historic areas in town, prime for development. My house sat on the largest lot. She wants to sell it to developers, I whispered. That's why she's doing this. There's more, Jay said. I did some digging. Salah's been meeting with the City Planning Commission. And guess who else attended those meetings? Mom and Dad? He nodded. They think they're protecting you from financial ruin, but Salah's playing them. She's convinced them selling is the only way to save you from yourself. My phone buzzed again. An email from Mom with attachments. I opened them, scanning quickly. These documents, I showed them to Jace. The letterhead is wrong, the permit numbers don't match my records. She forged them. Keep your voice down, Jace warned, glancing around. Stella's got friends everywhere. I don't care. This is proof she's lying. I stood up, energized. I need to show Mom and Dad. Wait. Jace grabbed my wrist. Salah's wedding to Valentin is in 2 weeks. Everyone will be there. Family, friends, business associates. If you're going to expose her, that's your chance to do it properly. I sank back into my seat, mind racing. 2 weeks to gather evidence, to prove she's trying to steal my home for her fiancé's development company. I'll help, Jay said firmly. So will Paisley, but we have to be smart about this. I nodded, determination replacing despair. Salah thinks she's won, that I'll just roll over and accept this, but she has no idea what I'm capable of. Walking home, I called Paisley. Hey, remember that friend of yours who works at the city planning office? We need to talk to her, now. The game was on, and this time I was playing to win. The planning office smelled like stale coffee and printer ink. Paisley's friend Amanda pulled another file from the cabinet, adding it to the growing stack on her desk. These are all the development proposals for your neighborhood from the past 6 months, she said, keeping her voice low despite the empty office, including 3 from Valram Development Group, Valentine's company. I muttered, flipping through the pages. My hands froze on a familiar sketch. This is my house. Paisley leaned over my shoulder. Look at the date. This was filed 2 months ago. Before the eviction notice, I said, anger building. Before any of this started. Amanda glanced nervously at the door. There's something else? These signatures here? She pointed to the bottom of the document. Your parents' names, authorizing the preliminary survey. My stomach lurched. They've been planning this for months. Viv Paisley grabbed my arm, pointing to another name. Look who notarized it. The name jumped off the page. Marcus Quinn, Sala's father. That sneaky little. I stopped as footsteps echoed in the hallway. Amanda quickly gathered the files, shoving them back into the cabinet. I've got copies at my desk, she whispered. I'll email them to you tonight. We barely made it out before someone entered the office. In the parking lot, I leaned against my car trying to steady my breathing. We need to talk to Valentine, Paisley said. Maybe he doesn't know what Sala is doing. He has to know. His company filed the proposals. My phone rang. Jace. Sis, you need to get to Mom and Dad's, now. What's wrong? Sala is here with some contractor talking about renovation plans. They're acting like they already own the place. I was already in my car. I'm coming. 15 minutes later, I stormed through my parents' front door. Sala's voice drifted from the kitchen, smooth as honey. The whole street will benefit from the modernization. Property values will soar over my dead body, I announced, making them all jump. Sala recovered first, her smile never wavering. Vivian, we were just discussing the neighborhood's future. You mean your future? Your fiancé's future? I slapped the development proposals on the kitchen table. When were you going to tell everyone about Valrum's plans? My mother's face paled. What is she talking about, Sala? Don't listen to her, Sala said quickly. She's just upset about the eviction. Show them, I demanded. Show them the real reason you want my house. The contractor cleared his throat awkwardly. I should go. Stay, Stella commanded. Vivian's just causing drama as usual, always so emotional about everything. Emotional? I laughed. You forged documents. You lied to my parents. You're trying to steal my home for your fiancé's development project. That's enough, my father shouted. Sala's been nothing but helpful. Helpful? I grabbed the proposals, throwing them in front of him. Look at the dates. Look at the signatures. She's been planning this for months. My mother picked up the papers with trembling hands. These aren't the documents you showed us, Sala. Because they're fake, Sala snapped. Vivian's desperate. She'll say anything. I have copies from the city planning office, I cut in. Official copies. Want to see them? For the first time, Sala's composure cracked. You went through official records and I found everything. The fake complaints, the forged permits, the development plans. It's all there. The contractor stood up. Miss Shelton, if there's some kind of legal issue, there's no issue, she said through gritted teeth. Everything's fine. My phone buzzed. An email from Amanda with the promised documents. I held up my phone triumphantly. Want to see the proof? It's right here. Sala's face hardened. You have no idea what you're doing, Vivian. No idea who you're dealing with. No. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I turned to my parents. Check your emails. I'm sending you everything. Every lie, every manipulation, every secret meeting with Valrum Development. Sala? My mother's voice was small. Is this true? But Sala was already heading for the door, the contractor trailing behind her. At the threshold, she turned back. This isn't over, Vivian. Not by a long shot. After she left, silence filled the kitchen. My father stared at the documents, his face ashen. We should have asked you, he finally said. Should have verified. Yes, you should have. I gathered the papers. But now you know the truth. The question is, what are you going to do about it? I left them there surrounded by evidence of their own misplaced trust. In my car, I called Paisley. Phase 1 complete, I said. Now we go after Valentine. Finding Valentine proved easier than I expected. He was at his usual lunch spot, a trendy cafe downtown with his sister, Leah. I smoothed my blazer and approached their table, Paisley close behind me. Mind if we join you? I asked, not waiting for an answer before sliding into the empty chair. Valentine's fork clattered against his plate. Vivian, what are you doing here? Funny story. I was just at the city planning office looking at some very interesting documents about my house. Leah's eyes narrowed. Your house? The Victorian that Sala mentioned? The same one your brother's company plans to demolish, I said, watching Valentine's face carefully. Demolish? Leah turned to her brother. Val, what is she talking about? Valentine dabbed his mouth with a napkin. This isn't the place. It's exactly the place, I interrupted, pulling out the development proposals. Your company filed these 2 months ago before the eviction notice, before all of Sala's lies. Leah snatched the papers, her face darkening as she read. You're planning to tear down the entire street, replace it with condos? It's a sound business decision, Valentine defended. The neighborhood's undervalued. It's my home, I cut in, and Sala's been manipulating my family to get it. She said your parents were willing sellers, Valentin said, but I caught the uncertainty in his voice. Paisley leaned forward. They were willing because Sella showed them forged documents claiming Vivian was mismanaging the property. She lied to everyone. Leah pushed her plate away, disgust evident. Is this why you're rushing the wedding to close this deal? The timing is convenient, he admitted. Convenient? I laughed bitterly. You're destroying people's homes, their histories. Progress requires sacrifice, Valentin started, but Leah cut him off. No. This requires deception, and I won't be part of it. She stood up, gathering her things. Count me out of the wedding party. Leah, wait. Valentin called after his sister, but she was already storming out. I smiled sweetly. Trouble in paradise? You have no right to interfere in my business dealings, he hissed. And you have no right to my house. I stood up. By the way, I've sent copies of everything to the City Ethics Board. They're very interested in how Valram obtained those preliminary approvals. The color drained from his face. You're bluffing, try me. I dropped a business card on the table. That's my lawyer's number, use it. Outside, Leo was waiting by my car. I want to help. Why should I trust you? Because I've watched Stella manipulate my brother for months. Because I've seen the way she operates. Leah's eyes flashed. And because I have access to Valram's internal files. Paisley grabbed my arm. Viv, this could be huge. What's in it for you? I asked Leah. Justice and the satisfaction of watching Sala's perfect plan implode. She pulled out her phone. Starting with these emails between her and my brother dating back 6 months, I scanned the messages, my heart racing. There it was, explicit discussion of their scheme to pressure my parents, to force the sale, to fast-track the development. This is exactly what we need, Paisley breathed. There's more, Leah said. Board meetings, private conversations, financial arrangements. I can get you everything. My phone buzzed, a text from Jace. Mom and Dad want to talk. They've seen the evidence. Looks like the tide is turning, I told Leah, but we need to move fast. The wedding's in 10 days. Perfect timing for everything to fall apart. She smiled grimly. I'll send you what I have tonight. As Leah walked away, Paisley turned to me. Are you sure about this? Using her? She's using us too, I pointed out. But right now, we want the same thing. My phone buzzed again, an unknown number. The message made my blood run cold. Back off now or you'll regret it. Some things are worth more than a house. Paisley read over my shoulder. She's threatening you. She's desperate, I corrected, saving the message as evidence. And desperate people make mistakes. I headed toward my car, determination fueling every step. Let's go see my parents. It's time to show them exactly who they've been protecting. The pieces were falling into place faster than I'd hoped. But Sala's threat lingered in my mind, a warning that this fight was far from over, and something told me the worst was yet to come. I woke to the sound of breaking glass. Jumping out of bed, I rushed downstairs to find my front window shattered, a brick lying among the shards. A note was wrapped around it. Final warning, my hands shook as I called the police. While waiting, I texted Paisley and Jace. They arrived before the officers did. This has gone too far, Jace said, examining the brick. You need to be careful, Viv. I'm not backing down now. I handed the note to the police officer who was taking my statement. This is connected to a larger situation. I have documentation. Just file a restraining order. The officer suggested, looking bored. Not much we can do without proof of who threw it. After they left, Paisley helped me board up the window. At least we have Leah's evidence now. Those emails she sent last night are devastating. Speaking of which, I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from my mother. I need to go see them. They've had time to process everything. I'm coming with you, Jace insisted. 20 minutes later, we sat in our parents' living room. Mom's eyes were red from crying. We've been such fools, she whispered. All those documents Sella showed us, we wanted to believe she was helping. The development plans, Dad added, his voice heavy. We had no idea they planned to demolish the whole street. We thought they were just renovating. Stella knew exactly what buttons to push, I said. She played on your concerns about me, made you think I was in trouble. She's been manipulating this family for years, Jace added. Remember when she convinced you to give her grandma's jewelry instead of Viv? Mom's face crumpled. She said you didn't want it, that you thought it was old-fashioned. I never said that. I swallowed hard, just like I never made unauthorized changes to the house. Never had complaints from neighbors. We know that now, Dad said. We've talked to everyone on the street. No one ever complained. In fact, they all love what you've done with the place. My phone buzzed. Leah, emergency. Meet me at Riverside Park now, I have to go. I stood up. But first, are you with me on this? Really with me? Mom squared her shoulders. We'll do whatever it takes to make this right. At the park, Leah paced near the fountain, her face pale. Sala knows I helped you. She's threatening to reveal something about my past to the board of Valrum. What something? A mistake I made years ago. It could ruin my career. She ran her hands through her hair. I can't risk it. Hey! I grabbed her shoulders. Whatever it is, it can't be worse than what she's doing now. You don't understand. My whole life could fall apart. Then let it. The words came out harder than I intended. Sometimes you have to lose everything to do the right thing. Leah's eyes filled with tears. Easy for you to say. You're just fighting for a house. No, I'm fighting for justice, for truth, for every person Sala has ever manipulated or hurt. I softened my tone. Including you. She wiped her eyes. There's something else. I overheard Valentine on the phone. They're moving up the timeline. They want to close the deal right after the wedding. That's in a week. The rehearsal dinner is in 3 days. Leah straightened up. You're right. I can't let her win. Not again. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Hope you enjoyed the brick. Next time it won't be your window. I showed Leah the message. Her face hardened. She's really losing it. Good, I said. The more desperate she gets, the more mistakes she'll make. The rehearsal dinner, Leah said suddenly. All the investors will be there, the board members, the family. Perfect time to expose everything. But Sala will be expecting something. She'll be prepared. I smiled grimly. Then we'll have to be better prepared. I need every document, every email, every piece of evidence you can get. And I need them tonight. Leah nodded. I'll have them to you in 2 hours. As she walked away, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Paisley. Your mom just called. Sala's at their house. She's crying, saying you're trying to ruin her life. Your parents aren't buying it, but she's putting on quite a show. I texted back, let her perform. In 3 days, she'll have a real reason to cry. The stakes were higher now. The threats more serious. But with each desperate move Sala made, she only proved how close we were to bringing her down. The countdown to the rehearsal dinner had begun. The day before the rehearsal dinner, I sat in my lawyer's office surrounded by stacks of evidence. Sarah, my attorney, flipped through the documents with growing interest. These emails between Sala and Valrum are damning, she said. And the forged documents? That's criminal. But is it enough? I asked. To stop the development? Absolutely. To press charges? Probably. She leaned forward. But are you sure you want to do this at the rehearsal dinner? It's perfect timing. All the investors will be there, plus the entire family. My phone buzzed. Another threat from Stella. Last chance to back down. Remember, I know about Miami. Sarah caught my expression. What's wrong? She's trying to blackmail me now. I showed her the text. But the Miami thing, it's nothing. Just a spring break mistake from college that she thinks she can use against me. Document everything, Sarah advised, handing me a USB drive. I've organized all the evidence here, including the police report about the brick. Are you sure you don't want private security? I'll be fine. Jason Paisley will be with me tomorrow night. Outside the office, I found Leah waiting in her car. Get in. There's something you need to see. She drove us to Valrum's office building, parking in the underground garage. Valentine and Sala are in a board meeting upstairs, but look at this. She pulled out her tablet showing me security footage from earlier that day. Sela was arguing with someone in the garage, her father. Turn up the volume, I said. I can't keep covering for you, her father was saying. The notary stamps, the forged documents, it's too much risk. Daddy, please, just one more day. After the rehearsal dinner, it won't matter anymore. What's happening after the rehearsal dinner? I asked Leah. I don't know, but they've booked a private room at the restaurant. Invitation only after the main event. My phone rang. Paisley. Viv, you need to get home now. Someone's been in your house. I broke every speed limit getting back. Paisley and Jace were waiting outside. Inside, my breath caught. Every renovation I'd done, every wall I'd painted, every fixture I'd restored had been photographed and marked with bright red X's. They're documenting everything they plan to destroy, Jay said quietly. Paisley picked up a business card left on the counter. Look who's handling the demolition. The company name made my blood boil. It belonged to Stella's uncle. They're keeping it all in the family, I said bitterly. How did they even get in? Your mom called, Jace said. Sala asked to borrow her spare key this morning, said she needed to measure for wedding decorations. And Mom gave it to her? No. But when she refused, Stella broke down crying. saying you were trying to ruin her special day. Mom felt guilty and admitted where she keeps the spare. I sank onto the stairs looking at the red X's everywhere. This was my grandmother's house. I learned to walk on these floors, had my first kiss in that bay window. And you're not going to lose it, Paisley said firmly. Tomorrow night, we end this. My phone buzzed with the text from Leah. Emergency. Salaz changed the seating arrangements. You're not invited to the private meeting anymore. Doesn't matter. I texted back. We'll do it during the main dinner, more witnesses that way. I spent the rest of the day with Sarah, finalizing our strategy. By nightfall, everything was ready. Lying in bed that night, I heard footsteps on my porch. Grabbing my phone to call the police, I crept to the window. But it was just my mother, leaving something by the door. I opened it to find a small package with a note. Your grandmother wanted you to have this. I should have given it to you years ago. Love, Mom. Inside was my grandmother's antique locket, the one Stella had claimed I didn't want. Opening it, I found a tiny photograph of my grandmother standing proudly in front of the house, the day she bought it. My phone lit up with one final threat from Stella. Hope you're ready for tomorrow because I am. I touched the locket, then looked at the red X's marking my walls. Bring it on, I whispered. Tomorrow, everything would change. Either I'd save my home and expose Salah's schemes, or I'd lose everything I'd fought for. But looking at my grandmother's proud smile in that old photograph, I knew one thing for certain: I wasn't going down without a fight. The rehearsal dinner couldn't come soon enough. The rehearsal dinner buzzed with nervous energy. Salah held court at the main table, resplendent and white, while Valentine worked the room, charming investors. I sat between Paisley and Jace, my grandmother's locket cool against my skin, waiting for the right moment. Look who just arrived, Paisley whispered. Sarah, my lawyer, walked in with Leah, right on schedule. Selah's smile flickered for just a moment before she recovered, rising to greet them. Leah, darling, I was worried you wouldn't make it after our disagreement. Wouldn't miss it, Leah said coldly, then turned to the assembled guests. Have you met Sarah? She's a fascinating person, specializes in real estate fraud. The room quieted slightly. Valentine appeared at Salah's side, his hand tight on her arm. Perhaps we should start the toasts, he suggested. Wonderful idea. I stood up, raising my glass. I'd like to go first. Salah's face drained of color. That's not on the program. Oh, but I insist. I moved to the center of the room. After all, what kind of cousin would I be if I didn't congratulate you on your achievements? The room fell silent, all eyes on me. Vivian, my mother warned softly. It's okay, Mom. I'm just going to share some interesting documents with everyone. I nodded to Sarah, who began distributing folders to the investors. Consider it my wedding gift. Security, Stella called out, but Leah was already blocking the door. Let's start with these emails, I continued, my voice carrying across the stunned room. Detailed plans to forge documents, manipulate my family, and steal my home for Valrum's development project. Valentine stepped forward. These are private business matters. Fraud is never private, Sarah interjected. Neither is forgery, which brings us to Exhibit B. The falsified complaints and permits complete with unauthorized notary stamps from Salah's father. Salah's father stood up, face red. Now wait just a minute. The ethics board is very interested in your involvement, Sarah added smoothly. They'll be in touch. You're ruining everything, Salah shrieked, lunging for the folders. But Jace was faster, already passing copies to the board members. Like you tried to ruin my life? I asked. The threats, the brick through my window, the break-in? Gasps rippled through the crowd. Valentine's sister stood up. The police have been notified, she announced, about everything. Val, do something, Salah pleaded. But Valentine was busy reading the documents, his face growing darker with each page. You told me her family agreed to Sal, that everything was legal. It was just business, Salah protested. A simple property acquisition. Simple? I pulled out my phone, playing the security footage Leah had given me. Salah's voice filled the room. After the rehearsal dinner, it won't matter anymore. What were you planning? Valentine demanded. What happens after dinner? Stella's silence was damning. Her father broke it. The demolition crew is scheduled for midnight, he admitted. We thought if the house was already down, you were going to destroy my home. Tonight? My voice cracked. While everyone was celebrating your wedding? The room erupted in chaos. Investors stormed out. Board members huddled in corners. Family members argued loudly. Through it all, Salah stood frozen, her perfect world crumbling. The development deal is off, Valentine announced. And so is the wedding. But the deposits, the contracts, Salah's voice was small, are void due to fraud, Sarah supplied helpfully. As is the eviction notice. My mother approached Sala slowly. How could you do this to family? Because she never cared about family, I said quietly. Only power, control, getting what she wants no matter who she hurts. Stella's composure finally broke. You think you've won? You've ruined everything I worked for. No. I touched my grandmother's locket. You did that yourself. Every lie, every scheme, every betrayal, that was all you. The police arrived then, asking questions, taking statements. I watched as Sala's carefully constructed facade crumbled completely. The house is yours, my father said, hugging me tight. It always was. We forgot what family really means. Later, standing outside the restaurant, Paisley squeezed my hand. How does it feel? I looked at the night sky thinking of my grandmother's photograph. Like justice, like home. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Leah. Board meeting tomorrow. Val Rams pulling out of all neighborhood developments. You did it. Justice indeed. But watching Selah being escorted to a police car, mascara streaking her cheeks, I felt no joy in her destruction. Only relief that my home, my family's legacy, was safe at last. The morning sun streamed through my newly repaired window as I sipped coffee on my front porch. The newspaper headline caught my eye. Valram Development faces investigation, CEO steps down. Below it, a smaller headline. Local woman charged with fraud, criminal conspiracy. My phone rang. Leah, have you seen the news? Just reading it now. How are you holding up? Better than expected. The board appointed me interim CEO. Turns out exposing corruption has its perks. A car pulled into my driveway, my parents. Mom carried a large box while Dad lugged what looked like photo albums. I'll call you back, I told Leah. Mom set the box down carefully. We've been going through the attic, found some things that belong here. Inside were pieces of my grandmother's life, her journals, recipes, old letters. Dad opened one of the albums pointing to a yellowed photograph. That's her. The day she bought this house. Said it was the proudest moment of her life until you were born, Mom added softly. She always wanted you to have it. The screen door creaked open as Paisley emerged with more coffee. Look who just pulled up. A police car parked across the street. Officer Martinez approached holding a document. Miss Harding, we've recovered some items from Stella's office, things she took from your house. He handed me a folder. Also thought you should know, she's agreed to a plea deal, full confession. Thank you, I said, taking the folder. Inside were old photographs she'd stolen years ago, claiming they'd been lost. The DA wants to know if you'll testify about the harassment, Officer Martinez added. I looked at my repaired window, remembering the brick, the threats, the fear. Yes, I will. He nodded and left. Mom touched one of the recovered photographs. Your 5th birthday, she said. Selah was so jealous of your party, she threw cake at you. We should have seen the signs back then. We all missed the signs, I said, but we can't change the past. Jace's truck rumbled up the street, Valentine surprisingly in the passenger seat. They carried construction supplies. Before you say anything, Jace called out. He volunteered. Valentine set down a paint can. I owe you. We all do. Let me help restore what we almost destroyed. I studied him for a moment, then nodded. Start with the back porch. It needs new railings. The day unfolded like a healing breath. While Jace and Valentine worked on repairs, Mom and I sorted through grandmother's belongings. Paisley organized a neighborhood potluck on the lawn. Even Leah stopped by, bringing corporate documents showing Valram's new commitment to historic preservation. The board wants to establish a fund, she explained, to help homeowners restore historic properties instead of demolishing them. Karma works in mysterious ways, Paisley mused. As evening approached, neighbors gathered on my lawn, sharing food and stories. Mrs. Rodriguez from next door brought her famous empanadas. Your grandmother loved these, she told me. She hosted dinners like this all the time. The house was always full of people, full of life. I touched my locket, thinking of the photograph inside. Maybe it's time to restart that tradition. Dad raised his glass. To new beginnings and old foundations, Mom added. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Plea deal finalized. Stella's serving time. The house is officially safe. Looking around at my gathered family, friends and neighbors, I realized something. This house wasn't just walls and windows, not just a property to be saved. It was a home, alive with memories and possibilities. You know, Paisley said, your birthday is coming up again. No surprise parties this time. I laughed. No, she agreed, but maybe a housewarming to celebrate properly. I watched Jace and Valentine arguing good-naturedly about porch designs, Mom sharing grandmother's recipes with neighbors. Dad telling stories about the house's history to enthralled listeners. I'd like that, I said. A fresh start. The evening wind carried the scent of blooming jasmine, grandmother's favorite. She'd planted it along the fence years ago, and like the house itself, it had endured. To fresh starts I raised my glass, and to coming home. The gathered crowd echoed the toast, their voices mixing with crickets and distant wind chimes. This was what Stella never understood, what no development plan could capture. The heart of a home, beating strong through generations. I sat on my porch steps surrounded by love and laughter, knowing that while the battle for my house was over, the story of this home was just beginning. And this time every page would be filled with joy, not fear, with welcome, not walls, with family, the kind you're born to and the kind you choose. This was my legacy, my victory, my peace. And it was beautiful.